Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very important bill. It's not as routine a passing as we think. Maritime piracy has reached a very high proportion, and we are all aware from two very startling cases concerning India, one off the coast of Nigeria and the other off the coast of Somalia. And Somalia, as a rogue state, keeps threatening. So, therefore, the bill is timely. In fact, could have been perhaps done even earlier. It's in execution of our international agreement. But having said that, sir, I have only a few queries to the Minister. The Honourable Minister is my former colleague. It's my honour to speak after Mr. Javadekar, my ex-minister. Now, having said that, and honour to listen to my friend from the other side, Vivek. Now, is the applicability only to Indian bottoms, to Indian ships? Is it applicable only to Indian ships? In other words, we need to be clear that if an Indian merchant hires another ship or takes major part in, let us say, a Norwegian ship, and that is subjected to high seas piracy, would this act be applicable? Because Indian goods of high value are involved. So that is my first query. The Minister is free to clarify it. Now, going by the Act, it's been well drafted, but Section 2(1)(a), the opening ball, if I may put it, says that only authorized persons can execute the Act. And the authorized person has been described rather liberally, but at the end of this meaning, it means Sircar, that either a naval ship or a Coast Guard ship has to take action, or a government ship of any type. Now, my humble submission to you, sir, is that when piracy takes place, it does not look at the flag of the ship. It perhaps doesn't look at it. So if it's a private bottom, private ship, which doesn't have the authority, would that private ship, who's otherwise capable, be able to execute the honor of India? That's all. Would it be able to execute? There's a question of aircraft coming in 2J. Aircraft is now an accompaniment of many forms of transport, and maybe helicopters are also part of the, let us say, sea passage. But the word other aircraft attracted my attention. Other aircraft. I hope it's not stretched like a rubber band to cover everything. In fact, air piracy or even other air offences under this one. Because we need a separate list, separate bill for that one. We are clear that air offences take place. Now, stateless persons has been defined. Thank you very much. This has been a crying need, but this could be extended to other acts as well, because stateless persons are not only subject to the anti-piracy bill, it is subject to many other acts, stateless persons, and we need to get a little more firm about it. Now, you have talked about extending in Section 2(2), extending the IPC. It's a welcome decision, and I really wonder how we have been carrying on so long without extending the Indian Penal Code to our territorial waters, our economic zone, our continental shelf, whatever we claim. My question, sir, is that this bill represents a desire of the government and the people also to extend their arm as long as possible. But the extension of the arm is possible only when you have muscles that go with the arm. In other words, we need an executing agency like the US Navy SEALs, a commando force that's capable of executing it. Otherwise, it remains a paper act. So that part is perhaps not his domain, but he could, the minister could always enlighten us as to what is the executing arm. Supposing an Indian ship has been caught off Aden, can we send some things from here? That's send our force from here. And legitimately under this act, claim that we have acted in due honor of the law of India. So we have this about who. The question that comes to me, and I'm sure that the minister, experienced minister, would know my concern, is what we call the theory of hot pursuit. Hot pursuit is an American practice of getting into anyone's territory at any point of time and saying that I was pursuing a criminal and I was in hot pursuit, and therefore I violated your territorial sovereignty to get at my people. And because America is America, it has got away with it. It got away with it. Would we also like to enunciate the crux of the principle of hot pursuit? Because if India has to assert itself and has to, especially in the light of a neighbor that does not believe much in international law or international peace, perhaps the theory of hot pursuit could be evinced and could be internalized. We have, what about rogue states? When we talk of recurring problems from Somalia, we all know Somalia is a rogue state. It does not come under the purview of the Act, but it certainly comes under one of the worries of the Ministry of External Affairs. What about rogue states? What is our action about rogue states? Sir, on the question of jurisdiction of who will decide, supposing we catch a pirate ship, a pirate vessel, and drag it to Indian waters, we shall all be there to clap. If we can do it. We have not been able to do it so far. But supposing we can do it, the question of jurisdiction is given as a port of disembarkation. This could be perhaps streamlined a bit, because my question is that it will need only one dedicated court for it. Mr. Tankha has also raised this issue. The next one is very worrisome, sir, especially under this system of governance. Evidence is, it is a lot of presumptive evidence floating around for a very good purpose. But having seen the case of Father Stanley that has happened, where it has been openly said in the international domain that false evidence has been planted into that old man's computer before he died, and there has been no denial from the government side. Therefore, I assume that much of what has been said on Father Stanley is true. When planting of evidence takes place by very organized people, what do? I am not accusing the government in this case of planting evidence in the anti-piracy. All I am saying is, if you leave wide balls, don't blame anyone for sixes. So be tight on that, and let us go through what we call the rule of law. Last, I would request the Honourable Minister to give us a picture of what is going on. What are the statistics? How many Indians have been captured? How many Indians have lost their lives? How many Indians have been rescued? How many Indian ships have been rescued? How much goods, what value of goods has been brought in? How serious is the problem as compared to, let us say, the decade ago? That's all. With these words, sir, I would request you to convey my feelings and my queries to the Honourable Minister. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Manni
Otherwise,
Jawhar
a very good pitch.
Thank you, Manni Jawhar.